Hello, today on Nurture Store we're talking about garden activities you can do with your children in the month of April. By the end of this video, you'll have 8 great ideas for things to plant and harvest in your garden this month, jobs to do to get your garden ready for the growing year, and educational activities to do with your children so they can learn about plants, animals and nature. This video is for you if you're a parent, teacher, grandparent or a community leader. You might be growing a garden in your backyard, homeschooling and homesteading, running a school gardening club or an allotment. You might have been gardening for years, but now you want ideas so you can include your children. Or you might be brand new to gardening and looking for some great tips to get you started. Whatever your circumstances, hello and welcome. I've got great ideas for you. If you're new here, I'm Kathy, the founder of Nurture Store, which is a great resource for you if you're teaching children. We're all about learning through play and hands-on activities to raise happy, confident and skilled children. You can think of Nurture Store as your teaching fairy godmother, as I give you ready-made lesson plans, activity ideas and lots of great resources to save you time and help you teach better. If this sounds like your way of teaching and something your children would enjoy, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all the resources I'll be sharing. Keep watching as we get ready for lots of growing and learning this month, and watch to the end and you'll find out where to get all the lesson plans and printables that your children can use to get the most from their garden. So, spring has sprung. Let's talk about some important garden activities for April that will help you get your garden blooming and set you up for a great year of gardening and learning with your children. Let's start with what to plant this month. For us in the UK, now is the time to sow summer squash, sweet corn, Florence fennel, lettuce, courgette, broccoli, celery, runner beans, beetroot, French beans, cabbage, pumpkin, basil, cucumber, peas and sunflowers. Think about succession planning for your salads, radish, beans and peas. You'll want to be able to harvest these plants all summer long and not have a glut of everything all in one week. So don't plant all of these seeds at once. Start several of each one of them now and then plant more every few weeks so they'll mature and be ready to harvest in sequence throughout the growing season, meaning you'll always have something to pick each week. It's such a good idea to get children to grow some things from seed. One big advantage is that it's so much cheaper than buying plants in. A packet of seeds that might grow into a dozen or more plants, all producing flowers and food, can just be a fraction of the price you'd pay if you'd bought those same plants as seedlings from a garden centre. But there's a bigger advantage when you're gardening with children. A single seed can give you a whole year's worth of science lessons, letting children see the full cycle of planting, germination, growing and harvesting. They get to learn about sustainability as they'll be able to gather their own seeds from the plant, ready for planting the following year. And you just might find out that children who are picky eaters are much more inclined to try new foods if they've been involved in the hands-on process of growing them. If you're growing sunflowers this year, I've got a whole ready-made curriculum that you could use with your children that we call Sunflower School. This gives you a wide range of lessons from now right through until the autumn, all based on the life cycle of your sunflowers. It includes science, maths, literacy, art, and this lovely printable sunflower journal and lots more printables for your children to use. If you're interested in this, you can use the link in the video description to get your copy of all the Sunflower School materials. A second practical job in the garden this month is to have your children set up growing frames. Think about where you're going to grow your peas, sweet peas and beans this year and put in place some frames to support them. It's a good idea to rotate their location in your garden from year to year, as this system of crop rotation can reduce their risk of picking up pests and diseases that are lurking in the soil from previous years. And it also means that one area of your garden won't get depleted in nutrients, which can happen if you grow the same plant in the same spot year on year. A great way to make a plant support for your peas and beans and your sweet peas is to use 3 or 4 garden canes, garden poles, to make a teepee fastened together at the top with garden twine. It's a great project for children to take on. They can work out how many plants you want to grow, how many teepees are needed, and then plan out where to locate them. They can work together as a team to build the structures. It's a great hands-on maths and construction lesson. And at this time of year, when the garden might still look rather bare, it's nice to see the immediate transformation that happens when you add some height and some structure with your frames. Oh, but April means the weeding cycle is here already. As soon as spring appears, so do the weeds. If you can get a head start now, when annual weeds are germinating, you can remove the plants when they're tiny, really reducing the need to keep weeding later on in the year. So talk with your children about weeds and how to identify them, and then get them involved in the work. You could even hold a contest to see who's the first to fill up a bucket full of weeds. It's so beneficial for children to join the gardening team and help out with chores because they learn that you need to put in effort to get the rewards of a harvest. Another great idea for April is to send out your children each morning for a week to check for slugs and snails. We don't want those precious seedlings chomped to the ground by a greedy snail hiding out in the greenhouse waiting for a midnight feast. Show your children how to check carefully in all the hidden places, under seed trays, around the rims of plant pots, under stones, and in the corners of the greenhouse and walls. And when you find some, and I bet you will, you can dispose of them or relocate them as you wish. If you've got a garden pond, watch out for frog spawn and tadpoles this month. And if you're interested in learning about the frog life cycle, you might like to check out our pond activity, which I'll link to in the video description. You might also like to teach your children about the other creatures that play their part in the mini ecosystem of your garden. Worms, spiders, bees, butterflies, beetles, ladybirds, and slugs and snails all have their place and their role to play. You can use this printable garden creatures sheet that's included in the Sunflower School resources to record which animals live in your backyard. Included in this garden creatures lesson plan are tips on how to go on a mini beast hunt, how to build an overnight animal trap, and great ideas to extend your animal study. Again, you can find a link to it in the video description. Even at this early part in the growing year, there are already some goodies that you can harvest in your garden, including chives, spring onions, rhubarb, and any remaining leeks. Did you know that there's a famous 9-square-mile triangle of land in West Yorkshire in England that's world famous for its rhubarb? You can read all about it and get this recipe for delicious rhubarb muffins on the Nurture Store website. The muffins are easy for kids to make, so if you're growing rhubarb or if you can get some in the shops, give this seasonal recipe a try this month. A fun first growing activity that you might like to try are these eggheads. They're fun to grow for Easter, and they're great if you don't have much growing space outdoors or if you need an indoor activity on a rainy day. We use cress seeds to grow our hair, but you could also use grass or microgreens. Your children can have fun adding googly eyes and funny faces. Full details of how to grow the eggheads are on the link in the video description. A very good educational activity for this month is to teach your children about pollination. You can use the lesson plan on the Nurture Store website to show your children why bees are so important and how we can support the bees that visit our gardens. The lesson explains pollination, which foods are pollinated by bees, and it's got great footage of bees at work. You might also like to make this cute bee craft this month. This art lesson introduces your children to a technique that uses either oil pastels or wax crayons together with water paint to create the bee's stripes. And it shows them a great printmaking technique using bubble wrap to make the honeycomb background. It's simple to do and creates a great effect, and I'll link to the lesson in the video description if you want to try it with your children. You might also like to celebrate Earth Day this month as it falls on April the 22nd. Earth Day is a day to focus on our planet and to take action to improve the environment, fight against pollution, and live more in partnership with a healthy Earth. Earth Day was first started in 1970, and since then over 1 billion people in 190 countries have taken part. If this is something you would like to observe with your children this month, you can find activity ideas on the Nurture Store website. Our Earth Day activities help you build stronger links between ourselves, our children, and our planet. The lessons encourage children to get to know and to connect with the environment around them, so they'll understand that nature isn't something out there that we go and visit sometimes, but we are nature. We have a ready-made Earth Day unit as part of our Play Academy membership area, and also individual lessons on the Nurture Store website. So do help yourself to whichever format you prefer, and I'll link to both options in the video description. So that's 8 great ideas for what to plant, harvest, do and learn about in your garden this month. I've got kids gardening guides for every month of the year, so do subscribe to the channel so you'll see all the lessons and the guides and the printables. Check out all the links in the video description and let me be your teaching fairy godmother. I'll save you time and help you plan your lessons. Have a great week with your children.